fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse, I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Izuku Midoriya and his strange quirk, along with his parents and their particular quirks. Now, we will be going over a small time skip and the current, age Midoriya will be at, as he is now around the age of 7 years old, and he has been training with his powers for 3 years, trying to learn more about his telepathic abilities and what he can do with them, along with training with his mother and trying to at least practice himself with the telepathic abilities. Now, he is already showing signs of almost quickly catching up to his mother, and it might be because of this second generation quirk. So Midoriya's starting point is relatively better along or farther along than Inko's was. Now, that means that the potential of his quirk will be higher, but sadly that his drawbacks might also be a bit more around, if not greater than hers. And it does become well apparent whenever he does overuse his quirk. Now, with that being said, around this time, a lot of things have happened, and we actually do have something that is quite interesting. With Izuku Midoriya's father working closely with the police force and pro-heroes, there was a case sometime last year, and he helped to close it. Now, because of his involvement, they were able to catch the people who broke into a manor, or a mansion, and they were of great help to take these people down, or to bring them in. Now then, with that being said, recently Hisashi has gotten a phone call, and he was invited by the owner of the mansion to come out and actually have a good time. And that Hisashi actually did somewhat have to explain. If they are going to go out, they are going to have to try and find somebody to babysit their son. And that if it's going to be on such short notice, then they possibly may not be able to attend. The man explaining that, in fact, that does not matter. They can bring their son along. In fact, there should be some children at the party. And if there is not, well then, most likely he can find some way to keep himself entertained. There will be pro-heroes and other people at the party. Now, they do somewhat lament on it, or think about it. And then there is the night. They get all dressed up and head out. Now, they eventually do arrive at the mansion. And this place is huge. It's insane. So, this is all strange. And Izuku's actually somewhat in awe, looking at it. He has never seen a place so big before. Like, the apartment building, sure, but this place is just supposed to be one big house? That's crazy. Now, they do actually get inside. And Izuku does actually somewhat begin to run around. Seeing all the pro-heroes and people who are here. Now, along with that, he actually does meet a police chief who does work with his father. And here are some of the interesting stories that he can tell about some of the more tame cases that his father has worked. Now, with that being said, eventually more and more pro heroes do begin to arrive, and somebody does make a public appearance. A very, very good hero. A very strong hero. Somebody who is almost to the top. They just have that one obstacle in their way. Now, with that being said, this is whenever Izuku, after meeting a lot of pro heroes and getting some of their autographs, he actually does somewhat begin to get bored. And find that this place is somewhat just strange. All the things they're doing here tonight is for adults. And, well, there's no one else really to talk to, or even really be around. Now, that is what Midoriya is thinking, until he does actually see somebody sitting down at a table, and actually walk over. Now, this is quite surprising, and Midoriya does actually meet her, and get her name, Momo Yaoyorozu. And it does seem to be quite strange. From talking to her and basically learning about her, this is her house. She owns this whole place? That's insane! It's absolutely mind-blowing. Now, that is not where things simply do end. After talking with her for a minute, somebody actually does come walking back up and sit down at the table. Now, this is whenever a younger looking, well, person, or yeah, I believe that would work. A younger looking person does actually then sit down a pot of tea. And this young girl, or the person who sat down, actually does pick it up and begin to pour it into a teacup. And Midoriya does look somewhat confused, beginning to try and ask exactly what are they doing. And Momo does try and explain. She's not really too sure. She met her earlier tonight, and well, she doesn't really like her. Okay. Now, this person, they immediately have their eyes light up, before they do actually pull out a piece of paper and a pen, and begin to write things down. Now, it is quite interesting. And Midoriya is asking them exactly what are they doing. And he does actually somewhat walk over and see what this girl is drawing. She is currently drawing a bunch of math problems, some that Midoriya doesn't even really recognize. Okay. That's strange. And weird. Well, I don't really expect you to understand them. I'm using my quirk, of course, to try and solve them. Okay. Well, what's your quirk? My quirk is super intelligence, of course. Alright. But why does that matter? Why doesn't it matter? Well, it's simple. I am currently the smartest person in this room. At least I believe so. As long as I keep drinking tea, my quirk will just keep getting better. And the older I get, the smarter I get. And the more I am able to learn. Okay, and that's actually pretty cool. Oh, well, of course it is. I one day plan on becoming a great hero. And trying to get pretty high in the rankings. I do at least want to see what I can do with my particular intelligence. Now, that's quite interesting to Midoriya. And him and these two do begin to talk for some time. And eventually, some more time does pass until the party does actually take us somewhat of a bit of a turn. And we do have certain people attack. Now, it is revealed that some people within the, well, what is it? Some of the butlers and help who are currently attending this party, they aren't the actual people who are hired. As it turns out, there is a man with a duplication quirk. And he has not only disguised himself, he was able to use another person's quirk. Or what you can simply just call the Claymaker, a professional villain, who is also elusive, able to change his face at will, along with using his own body and being able to alter other people's appearances. So, not only has he been here, but it appears that he is within this makeup. Now, as it does stand, most of the people here, or helping in this manner, they've currently just turned against all the party guests and pro heroes. Some heroes quickly being taken down with, ta-da, drugged drinks, or drugged champagne, either being weakened, fatigued, or knocked out. And it was quite surprising. Now, with all this occurring, we actually do have Hasashi, who, since he has been social drinking, he's already had at least 2 to 3 glasses of champagne, and is currently lying on the floor trying to stand and get onto his feet. While we actually do have Inko. She is severely weakened, and she's currently trying to use her telepathic powers to at least try and secure the villains, or pick them up. Now, she was able to at least pick up one person. However, upon trying to keep them in the air, or simply just try and pick up more people, she actually did notice that her powers begin to strain more, before she'd actually fall over. Now, along with that, there are more pro heroes, and then there is the pro hero, who we did mention earlier. The pro hero Endeavor, who is currently at least trying to stay up. He is weakened, yes, but he only had 1 glass of champagne, since he did want to keep his professional edge, but not look too stiff. And he feels annoyed that he let that person talk him into it. He should have known something was up. I decided to relax for 1 second and look what happens. Damn it. I knew I shouldn't have done that. Him beginning to think. He's losing his edge to All Might. Damn it. Even when he's not here, he's still getting the better of him. Now, with that, he actually does get back onto his feet and begin to try and make quick work of the villains. He is able to take out some of these clones or duplicates, but he's still having somewhat significant trouble, trying to hold back in a crowded room with a very dangerous quirk. And with him being impaired a certain way, does not help. Villains quickly beginning to try and overpower Endeavor, and hurt him a lot. Now, with that, we actually do have currently underneath the table, with Izuku, Momo, and Telly. All of these 3 are hiding underneath it after an adult told them to get down there. And there is currently the conversation, talking about what they should try and do, and if they should wait for the pro heroes to do it. Now, Midoriya, he's somewhat trying to make sure his parents are okay, him pulling the cloth up and looking around. His mother is currently being held hostage, while his father, he's laying on the ground, and he's trying to grab his gun. Now, Midoriya, he knows what his dad is trying to do, and he does actually begin to try and use his quirk. Now, the very moment that Hisashi does hear his son in his head, he does try and scan the room, try and look for him. Whenever Izuku does actually tell him to look towards his feet, he actually does turn his head, seeing his son far away in the distance. And he does ask his dad what they should do. And Hisashi, he's trying to formulate a plan, trying to think tactically. Endeavor, he's struggling. Other pro heroes are either out of commission or too drunk to fight, and their abilities could be disastrous in close proximity to civilians. Shit. Hisashi trying to inform Midoriya, get his mother. He's going to try and make a distraction. Once he can, do whatever he can to get his mother away from that man. And Midoriya, he actually does agree. As Midoriya, he begins to try and at least make his way throughout the tables, trying to crawl underneath them and get closer. And Telly and Momo are actually watching, as Momo does somewhat want to come with him, and she actually does begin to follow Midoriya, while Telly, she just stays put, and she wants to observe the situation. Now, this is quite strange, and she does actually begin to try and calculate the odds. What Midoriya does stand against these men? Let's see. Factoring in the fact that pro heroes are out of commission, the officers here are out of commission, the second pro hero, he is currently failing. There is an unknown amount of villains here, and apparently, the place could be on lockdown. Midoriya has a 93% failure rate. Now, she does actually begin to wait. She can stay here and hide out until the situation does blow over. Now, this is whenever we do actually have Midoriya, after Momo does catch up to him. Now, Midoriya does see the man, and he's trying to wait to give his dad the signal for the distraction. And Momo, she's actually asking what they should do, if they should try and do anything at all. Now, Midoriya does ask Momo if she can help with her quirk. What is it? Oh, sorry. My quirk is, creation. Huh? Oh, if I know the chemical makeup of something, I can create it. That's awesome. Really? Yeah. Think about it. You could be a very good hero. Oh, thank you, but no, I'm being serious. Let's see. Could you make a frying pan or something? Why? I'm gonna need it, trust me. Now, she does make a frying pan, or a cast iron skillet. Now, the moment that she does actually make it, Midoriya does somewhat grab it, and he's still curious about how her quirk does work. Now, this is whenever Midoriya does actually signal his father, who is able to successfully pull his gun out. And as his gun does hit the floor, somebody does take notice to it. And the man who's holding Midoriya's mother, along with the man next to him, do go moving forwards. As soon as the man on Midoriya's right moves forwards to go and take the firearm, Midoriya, he actually does get up from underneath the table. And he actually does jump onto a chair, smashing the man in the back of the head, as the man does actually let go of his mother. The very moment he does, Hisashi does go to grab the man's leg, as he went to go grab his gun. That man being pulled toward Hisashi, as he goes falling backwards. Now, Hisashi tries to climb on top of the man and beat him down, while Midoriya, he is able to knock the man out, and he then actually just pull his mother underneath the table to hide her. Now, with that being said, Midoriya, he actually does begin to try to think more, and he does somewhat come up with an idea. His mom did tell him that it was risky and somewhat hard to do, but he's hoping he can do it. Okay. Remember your training. Focus. Concentration. What are you doing? Shh, please give me a minute. Now, as Midoriya, he actually just hears something in his head. He hears his dad call for help. Him turning around and looking to see something. His dad, currently surrounded by men. As he actually just goes to throw up his hands. The very moment he does, they all pull the trigger. And everyone in the party does somewhat begin to scream, as loud gunfire can be heard. And Hisashi, he does stand there with his hands up, and his eyes closed, before he does actually open them, finding that all those bullets are currently on the ground in front of him and behind him. Okay. Honey, I'm guessing that you came too. Him turning to look, seeing his son. Midoriya currently at least holding both of his hands up, and beginning to have his nose somewhat begin to bleed. Hisashi quite surprised. As Midoriya, he actually does go to bring up his hands up more and close them down into fist, before bringing his hands together towards his chest and quickly throwing them outwards. As all those men do get forced away, as if an invisible explosion went off. Before Midoriya, he actually does begin to try and use his powers, beginning to just pull everything up into the air. And this does surprise quite a few people, along with the ones who are currently invading the rooms. Half of them are suspended in the air. They thought they took down the telekinesis hero. This is not according to the plan. While the other half, they are busy trying to subdue Endeavor, since he has a hostage directly in front of him. And now he cannot use his powers. They're virtually locked in a stalemate. So, that's quite surprising. Now, with that being said, there is Midoriya. Whenever his, quirk activated, and he pulled a lot of stuff into the air, this is whenever Endeavor, the people who are currently at least holding on to him, they got distracted. And he was actually able to quickly grab the civilian and get them out of harm's way for a second, or at least closer out of harm's way, before he went on the offensive. Now, with that being said, we actually do have Midoriya, who does actually look to see Endeavor using his quirk. Now, he actually does begin to try and think of a plan. Come on, what was something Dad would do? What is something Dad would do? I got it! Him telling everyone in the room with telepathy, to simply get to the far side, away from Endeavor. And he is going to do something that should protect them all. Now, this is quite surprising, as they all do begin to listen to Midoriya's orders, packing into one single area. While the bad guys, they're fighting against Endeavor. And Midoriya, he actually just throw all the bad guys towards the rest of them, and get into Endeavor's head. Endeavor being quite surprised to see a kid with a bloody nose. A kid somewhere around his daughter's age. Impressive, kid. But, get out of here now. Midoriya informing Endeavor. He knows that he was drinking that strange thing his parents were. And he's probably the same way, right? He can help. Huh? How can you help me with telepathy? No, I have a half and half ability. Listen, I can put up a wall. All you need to do is let loose. Kid, are you sure about that? Now, this is when Midoriya does say, just do it. Otherwise, the villains will win. Listen, kid, you don't understand what it's like being a pro. Him going on to say that he's the son of this pro hero and this pro hero. He has a good idea. Alright. Well, I'll keep that option in mind. But, Hasashi getting into Endeavor's mind. Talking about how he needs to do it. Their son is very skillful with his quirk. And in case he hasn't forgotten, him then actually at least saying that Inko is at least coming too. She can help Midoriya with backup, or at least with this barricade to protect everyone. So just give his son a chance, that's all he's asking. Fine, he says, blasting villains away with fire, saying to just tell him when. Now, Hisashi does actually wait for Inko to somewhat become a bit more conscious and self-aware, as she actually does begin to make a barricade. Now, after she makes this invisible barricade, Midoriya actually does begin to use his powers. And his bloody nose does actually begin to run a lot more, as Intelli is quite surprised, calculating Midoriya's odds of survival. They went up a lot, and his success rate has significantly changed out of her predicted margins. Now, with that being said, Endeavor does cut loose, and Midoriya, he does actually struggle to keep his powers in check. Or at least trying to go completely all out, along with Inko actually struggling herself. Now, after Endeavor scorches this side of the mansion, or ballroom you could say, the villains are defeated, and other villains, or the ones who were not currently in this room, have all ran away and retreated, at the first sign that this was not going in their favor. And they actually were able to catch the man with the duplication quirk, along with the man who was able to disguise out all the villains. However, there are still more villains in this little gang that are still around, and they have yet to be captured. Now, with that being said, we actually do have some time later, in an ambulance, with Izuku and his mother. Both of these two actually, at least with not only medical gauze covering their noses, but actually someone at least talking to each other. Enko commenting that their little team-up was actually quite unpredicted. Or, she didn't expect them to have to do that so early. Midoriya is someone just laughing, and saying that that was actually a bit of fun. That was, kiddo, Hasashi says walking up. But, fun isn't what their job is. Their job is to protect people, remember? Sorry, Dad. No, I should say sorry. What is it? I didn't think we'd put you in harm's way tonight. I should have thought about this. Even then, the people who work here, they only took part of the security upgrades we recommended. They didn't think anyone was getting past that fence, let alone within their own staff. Jeez. Come on, Dad, it's gonna be okay. Well, of course it's gonna be alright, a man says, as he does come walking up. Him with bandages covering his arms, torso, and at least a little bit of his face, along with him at least holding an ice pack, talking about how he didn't expect that to happen either, but they should all be okay. Once the, drugs in their system wear off, they should all be back at 100%. And him actually then at least looking at Midoriya, this kid who actually does look somewhat in awe. This was the kid who helped. Him then commenting that Inko actually did a good job taking care of the villains who were holding hostages. What are you talking about? That wasn't me. Hmm? Yeah, Endeavor, that was our son. Izuku. Hmm. Him then looking at this kid. A half and half ability. Hmm. Interesting. I wonder. Him then at least asking exactly how much did their son help out? I'd say about 70%. Inko then at least trying to confirm. She was only there to reinforce the barricade. It was Izuku's powers that were actually able to hold it off. Hmm. Fascinating. At a young age already. A prodigy, in fact. I'd have to keep him in mind. Hmm. Let's see. He would be worthy. Yes. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing night. I will catch you guys in the next part.